Good morning. Everybody's so happy this morning. What is it? They're usually sitting and like they're waking up, but this morning they're already awake. I don't understand.
You are. Big. Yeah. Just when you shook, I was like, I'll let you know, handshake is up. Had a rowdy group this morning.
I know. As soon as Ms. Gomez gets to her seat, we're starting.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, very good. Good morning. Command staff.
Hit the gavel.
Command staff, we need your attention. I don't know what's, somebody's going to have to share with me after this is over what's going on, because you're so excited this morning. I've never seen such excitement before a meeting. I've never seen them that excited before. They usually, that's what I said, I want them to share with me what the news is. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, June 20th. 2023. The time is 9 a.m. This is the Board of Fire Commissioners regular meeting, and I'm Jimmy Woods Gray, President of the Commission. Ms. Gomez, would you do the roll call for us, please?
Woods Gray.
Here.
Babcock. DeLugich.
Here.
Para.
Here.
Fire Chief Crawley.
Here.
Deputy City Attorney Linda Nguyen.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Chief, would you do us the pleasure of having the pledge?
Be my honor. Everybody stand, please. Hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join me in a moment of silence and remain standing in honor of our past and present members of Los Angeles Fire Department who devote their lives to the protection of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Okay, the next item, the first item on our agenda is the Commissioner's comments. Dr. Hart, you have something for us?
Yeah, a few things. So,
Commissioner?
A lot of things have happened since the last commission meeting.
Yes.
Actually, Commissioner DeLugich and I participated in the Pride Parade.
Oh, wonderful.
And
Really fun.
She has a special relationship with Chief Fields now.
And his daughter.
So at this point, the other events that I participated in, on the 13th of June, I attended the Merit Scholars Award ceremony, and 5, and they're all female, awardees. Just amazing curriculum vitae for so early in their life, and then 2 days after that was the recruit class 22-4 that I attended, and once again 51 new firefighters, and so. Again, a great event, as usual. And it's nice that the last couple sessions we've actually had, they had the opportunity to actually badge the graduates. And the president of the city council, Paul Krikorian, was there in attendance as well. So I thought it was a great event.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Hart, for always representing us. Commissioner DeLugich.
Very good. I'll just say one more word about the Pride Parade, and it was really fun, and we were with Chiefs Field, Saunders, and Crawley, and I'm sure there were a couple of others, but it was amazing to get all this firefighter love conferred upon me on the on our rig that we were riding on. Anyway, you guys are very beloved, so it was really fun. Great to, and Chief Crowley was out there in the crowd, and everybody loved her, and it was really great.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for writing. It's always it's a fun thing to do. Fun thing to do. yesterday we all celebrated Juneteenth. Some people did. Because you're a fire department, some people are working, we know. But it's a holiday new to some people, but for me, because I grew up in Texas, we celebrated every day of my life from the time I was born till I left, because it was a big holiday in Texas, and we did all of the things that people talk about now. We had to have red soda water, watermelon, and barbecue. And I went to Maxine Waters' Juneteenth event yesterday at the Hilton Hotel, nevertheless. And do you know that that's what they had for the meal? So we said, wow, Hilton Hotel. So we stepped up a bit. While at the Hilton Hotel, one of my very good friends became ill. And I want to acknowledge Fire Station 95 and the wonderful work that they did by coming in, helping her. They were timely. Response time was good, and they were very friendly, as we expect them to be, and they took good care of her, did all the tests on her, and helped her to make her decision as to what her next move would be. I can't remember the captain's name, but his crew, he and his crew did an outstanding job, and so we were pleased with that. I want to congratulate Class 22-4 and especially welcome the 51 new firefighters. That's exciting. I'm sure the chief will talk more about that. And we're still celebrating Pride Month. And so we still want to acknowledge the love that we have for everyone. And that's the key to the whole thing is love. So we're going to acknowledge love and remember Pride. Not just this month, hopefully, like we do other issues. Let's remember Pride all year long. Okay, very good. I think that ends my comments. Now we'll move on to the report of the fire chief.
All right. Well, thank you so much. So I'll be reporting from June 6th to June 19th. June 6th and 7th, had the opportunity to travel to Columbus, Ohio, where I participated in the Metro Chiefs Conference. Interesting enough, the Metro Chiefs Conference, in order to be invited to that, you have to have over 350 members within your fire department. We had 150 active fire chiefs and 100 retired fire chiefs. All had the opportunity to come together over a few days, and lessons learned, a lot of abilities to network for the two-day event, and we also had a number of training activities. So well worth the travel and the ability to connect with other fire chiefs across the nation. And actually, we had a couple international fire chiefs who participated as well. Mm-hmm. So that was a great event to travel to. June 10th, we had our Blaze a Trail walk at the LA Zoo for the Fire Foundation. We had about 250 to 300 people there. The foundation does such an amazing job to raise money for our department, and that was a really fun event. A lot of community members came out, and we had a lot of people who had a wonderful time, and we raised some funds for the department. On June 11th, we talked about the parade, the Pride Parade, and thank you for attending. We really appreciate the support. Thousands and thousands of people line the streets, and it's just a wonderful celebration to connect with diverse communities that we serve. On June 13th, that was the LAFD Scholarship Award. Normally, I don't know if you're aware of, but they normally give 4 full scholarships a year, and each of the top awardees are granted actually 10,000 a year, so 40,000 over a 4-year time frame. This year was unique. The scholarship awards, there were so many amazing children of our first responders. They had to add 1 additional, so they awarded 5 of our first responders' children, the 40,000 over a 4-year time frame. And just to hear their resume is just so inspiring. You walk out of there thinking, wow, what have I done with my life? But these kids are amazing. They push hard, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to do. But the other wonderful thing was to also just have their families there and figure out other ways that we can continue to support our members. And the scholarship awards, they do an amazing job. That was a really fun event as well. On June 15th, yes, we had our graduation of class 22-4, 51 recruits. Just hearing their stories is also very inspiring, just a wide array of individuals that are going to bring a lot of value to our department, just starting off their amazing careers with us. And I think we could all just take a big step back and remember those days of graduating from the academy. Interesting enough, we had a unique situation. Our top recruit actually won all of 3 awards. That was unique. Usually they're kind of spread out. Each individual has their strengths, but our top recruit actually was awarded all 3 of the top awards, which is fantastic for that individual. And he was also the class leader, which I wasn't surprised about. That same day in the afternoon, we did another chat with the chief. Just an opportunity. We're going to continue to push and communicate with our rank and file. We're still holding those chat with the chiefs like once a month. It offers the opportunity just to do a lot of Q&A and to bring our people, our members, rank and file, sworn and civilian, just to have that candid conversation, bring everybody up to speed on what's happening with the department. And each time we have a specific focus. This last one was on our assign hire policy, and I had invited Chief Telemontes, who's one of our subject matter experts, kind of walk through what that process is going to look like and had the opportunity to do some Q&A with him as well. And on June 16th, that was our Region 1 meet and greet. That was our 2023 Fire Season Outlook press conference as well. Had the opportunity to spend time with leadership within the fire service in Region 1. We talked about our preparedness and what we're doing just to lean forward in our 2023 brush season, and also had the opportunity to participate in the press conference where I spoke specifically on the Ready, Set, Go campaign, and just continue to partner with our GEO bureaus to make sure that our community leaders are leaning forward and we're ready for the brush season. End of report.
Oh, thank you, Chief. Always busy, busy, busy. Thanks for sharing those experiences with us. They only make us a better department. That's really great. Next, we have incidents report. Central is doing it?
Yes, good morning, ma'am. Madam President, Commissioners,
Good morning,
Fire Chief
Chief
Crowley,
Flegel.
staff, members of the audience. My name is Philip Flegel. I'm in charge of Operations Central Bureau. And today I'd like to share with you a major emergency structure fire that occurred on June 7th of 2023. On June 6th, 2023, at approximately 1:21 hours in the morning, LAFD Resources responded to reported structure fire within the 1700 block of North Sitchell Street, which is located in Fire Station 1's first ends in Council District 14. First arriving resources were on scene within 3 minutes and 25 seconds to a reported 100 by 150, 313,000 square foot, one-story commercial building with heavy fire showing through the roof. Due to the large amount and volume of fire, initial resources deployed in a defensive mode to control and extinguish the fire while protecting nearby exposures. The initial incident commander, Battalion Chief Dan Curry, requested additional resources to assist with forcible entry, exposure protection, and water supply. Due to the fire's size, scope, and complexity, and the rapid growth, a major emergency incident soon was transferred and declared with the command under Assistant Chief Louis Aldana, while Chief Curry transitioned into an operations section chief for the incident. The Bravo exposure was immediately threatened by a fire, but due to the extraordinary efforts and coordination of LFD firefighters and paramedics, the exposure was not damaged. It took 120 firefighters and 95 minutes to extinguish the fire. There were no civilian or firefighter injuries. Firefighters remained on the scene well into the morning to coordinate the salvage and overhaul of the large amount of smoldering debris within inside the structure with LAFD's heavy equipment operators. The fire's cause is still under investigation by the Arson Counterterrorism Section and LAPD. Are there any questions? All right, thank you.
No, thank you. Thanks for the work that you do in Central Bureau. Items 2C is our medical emergency report. Chief Dixon, good morning.
Yes, good morning, ma'am. Madam President, Commissioners, Fire Chief Crowley, audience. My name is Tyler Dixon. I'm assigned to the EMS Bureau, and I'll be reporting on medical emergencies for the period of June 6th through June 19th. On the morning of June 10th in Operations Central Bureau, companies responded to reports of an auto versus pedestrian accident in the downtown Los Angeles area. First arriving resources found a truck that had careened off the roadway and struck several pedestrians on the sidewalk. The first arriving resource radioed for additional resources, performed a rapid triage, and identified 3 patients, 2 of which were in critical life-threatening condition. All 3 patients were triaged, stabilized on scene, and transported in a timely manner to a local trauma center for definitive care. Of note on this incident, the first arriving resource was Fast Response Vehicle 9, which under the leadership of Chief Crowley earlier this month was deployed in a 24-hour variably staffed model. This resource previously had only been available 10 hours a day, 4 days a week. Currently, based on the ability of firefighter paramedics and firefighter EMTs to work additional shifts, this resource will be available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. The fast response vehicle's primary mission is to patrol during daylight hours for incidents, including EMS incidents and outside fires, and in this case, performing one of its primary functions, arriving in a timely manner while out on patrol, determining the appropriate resources needed, and right-sizing the incident. In this case, escalating the incident, calling for additional resources, which very well could have accounted for the desirable outcome in this incident. On the morning of the 14th of June, Rescue Ambulance 10, along with Engine 11 and EMS 11, responded to a grocery store where there were reports of a person down. They found a person in their middle age that had been attempting to check out at the grocery store, reportedly slumped over and was helped to the floor. Immediately, 911 was called by the staff members at the grocery store. They had a conversation with a emergency medical dispatcher assigned to the Los Angeles Fire Department, who instructed them in methods to conduct hands-only CPR, while firefighter paramedics, EMTs, and rated members and officers were responding in a timely manner. Those paramedics and EMTs arrived, took over care, providing advanced life support, and calling for additional equipment, the automated chest compression device, the Lucas device, which is assigned to every EMS officer in the field. The Lucas device arrived in a timely manner and was applied, along with advanced cardiac life support medications and procedures. The EMTs and paramedics on scene were successful in obtaining a return of spontaneous circulation. Of note in this particular incident, the paramedics initially determined that the patient had an electrical cardiac rhythm, or an EKG, of asystole. That's a flat line. That's no electrical activity at all, which is a grave indicator upon initial assessment of somebody in a cardiac arrest, and what makes this outcome of a return of spontaneous circulation and a delivery of this patient with spontaneous circulation to the hospital very impressive. The other thing of note is, during this 2-week period, this is not the only case of a return of spontaneous circulation that our members obtained while treating cardiac arrest patients. At least 4 other instances were recorded during this 2-week period. This is offered as one example of the fine work that our paramedics, EMTs, advanced providers, rated members, and officers have done over the last 2-week period. Happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners? I just want to, again, thank you and thank your department and the paramedics that work under you and with you for the services that they provide. And they have the equipment, and I got to see the EKG equipment yesterday, so that was good to see. But thanks for all the services. The training that we provide, it's excellent, and it makes our department and the firefighters, the paramedics, do outstanding jobs because they have what they need to do the work. And that's really, really good. And on another note, of an emergency that occurred that did not involve LAFD was the survival of a little dog in Venice by a firefighter. You saw that in the news. Firefighter from Texas gave CPR to the little dog, which was really great. Actually, it saved the dog's life. Yeah, so firefighters are from everywhere are doing good things. That was really impressive, a female firefighter from Texas. Very good. Okay, thanks so much. We really appreciate the paramedics.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks so much. Okay, we have no presentation, and we're at public comment. Item number 4, we have 2 cards for public comment. And the first one is Robert Hawkins. You would like to comment on all items on the agenda?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Ms. Gomez will keep time.
Right. Okay. Good morning, Madam President, Woods Gray, all fire commissioners, Fire Chief Christian Crawley, and everyone else in attendance. My name is Robert Hawkins, Executive Vice President, representing the Stentorian Organization. First, I would like to begin by recognizing our newest commissioner, Madam Commissioner Del Ugok, and Madam Commissioner Janethia Hudley Hayes. We look forward to working with you, and most importantly, the opportunity to grow this department that benefits everyone. While we welcome and appreciate our new Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Bureau, today I'm here to speak about concerns in the LAFD with fairness and equity. The organization is concerned about a recent demotion in the officer rank that was perceived as inequitable and was never given a formal plan for improvement. We have concerns about an uncomfortable interaction where a perceived threat of not promoting a candidate was based on the deputy chief's personal opinion and innuendo. Additionally, a Stentorian member was the only candidate passed over on the battalion chief promotional list based on an alleged deputy chief's immature bias and retaliation tactic. Most concerning is a letter written March 13, 2023 by ex-Commissioner Roy Harvey. This letter was never properly addressed, warning the board that the captain cheating scandal and concerns naming the same deputy chief who was alleged to play an important role in the allegations I mentioned above. I'm asking the Fire Commission to agendize a report on all recent demotions, outlining the specifics on who was granted a formal improvement plan versus who wasn't, and also a report on the status of the allegations of the captain cheating scandal cover-up involving the current emergency operations deputy chief. Lastly, we have a leadership concern, and I want to remind everyone here that the head of the fire department is the Fire Commission. It has the power to supervise, control, regulate, and enforce. Justice delayed is justice denied. Thank you. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. Okay. Our next speaker is Richard Ramirez. You're speaking on 6D?
Public comment in 6D,
Yes, 6D. And he's from UFLAC, Local 112. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Board of Fire Commissioner, Chief Crawley, everyone in attendance. My name is Richard Ramirez. I am a director at UFLAC, Local 112, also a firefighter paramedic for 18 years. Today, I just want to bring up a few topics, if not concerns, that we have for our membership. First of all is the staffing crisis, which I know we're all aware of, and like Chief Flegel was mentioning earlier, there's approximately 120 members at that incident on Sitchell Street. That's what we ran about short on Saturday and Sunday, about 120 members short on both days. So take that personnel out of the equation, that hurts the rest of the citizens, if not just our safety as firefighters. Recently, we just signed a letter of agreement on Cody Sign Hire, and I just want to make sure that it is written down and documented that we would like every position filled, including the 10th member at each task force. Not only is this safety for the citizens, but it's safety for our membership, training, certification, and promotions, which over the last 3 or 4 years have been, in my opinion, and many opinion out there on the field, has been pushed back. I recently, my last assignment was 11C MacArthur Park, and I just want to let the Board of Fire Commissioner knows, sometimes the reports that you receive or may talk or have conversations about are a little bit watered down. Our guys are stressed out, they're tired, they're overworked, they don't have the supplies that we need. I just really want you all to understand how important it is for our members to go home safe with a clear mind, and it's hard to come to work every day knowing that you have companies that are shut down. I'd like to ask for more resources, as we've done for the future, and I know we need the firefighters to fill all those resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Freddie Escobar, President of UFLAC, on all items on the agenda. Welcome, Freddie.
All right, good morning. Good morning, President Jimmy Woods Gray, Commissioners, Chief, Command Staff, and all attendants. Freddie Escobar, UFLAC President, representing over 3,400 sisters and brothers of the LAFD. I'm here to remind everyone of the of the ongoing staffing crisis affecting our department. As mentioned before, our firefighters have continued to take on more duties to meet today's challenges, but they're doing it so with the same infrastructure, personnel, and resources that we had 60 years ago. In 1965, which a lot of us in this room weren't even alive, the LAFD had 3,430 sworn personnel who responded to approximately 68,000 emergency calls. Today, nearly 60 years later, we have the same number of firefighters who respond to 500,000 emergency calls. That's a 700% increase in calls that are being handled by roughly the same number of firefighters today. What we need to be focused on, expanding our department, our staffing, and our resources, period. We don't need to continue to roll out pilot programs that are ineffective and don't help our staffing crisis. We have pilot programs out there that have been around for 8 years. Stop them. Let's get authorization for those, and let's discontinue the pilot programs that aren't working, like the therapeutic van program. It only offers a Band-Aid solution at best. If you want to talk with actual firefighters on the ground, they will tell you that this program is not working. They are not working during the busiest times, and whatever benefits we are getting from this program does not justify the large costs. Let's stop it. Let's get rid of it. The people of our city deserve the very best care. Let's not piecemeal in emergency services with this program. Again, we are in a staffing crisis. The only real solution and permanent solution is to hire more qualified men and women to fill the ranks of our department. This should be the sole focus of the Fire Commission and our fire department leadership. We need a minimum of a 4,000 membership fire department. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, very good. Any comments from the? Yes, I asked for it. Okay, let's move on to the, I think that out of the public comments, there are some issues that we want to deal with. Like make an evaluation of the pilot programs, because I remember under Chief Terrazas, I had mentioned about pilot programs, and they were only supposed to go on for so long before they became either a part of our department, and then we went through the regular hiring process for staffing, because that was always an issue with me, going through the regular process for staffing. I also would like to hear more about what was that? The the promotions. I wrote it down, but I don't see.
Recent demotions, I think.
The recent demotions. I would like to have a report on that also, and how that process works as far as captains or any other department category promoting on. We would like to hear more about that. And we probably need an update on the captain's report. On the captain, we had a report, but I think that by now something else should have happened, or at any rate, we should have an update on the captain's cheating test. Okay. Very good.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Let's move on to the next items. First, I want to thank all the people who made public comment. Thank you very much. Public comment is important. Now, item 5 is the consent agenda. Are there any questions about A, B, or C? 5A, B, or C? If there's no questions, then a motion is in order to file or to take whatever actions recommended. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to take actions on consent agenda items A, B, and C. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, like sign. The motion carries, so we'll move from 5A, we move from 5 to 6. Regular agenda items. The first one on there is A, BFC 23-058. It's a correction action summary. And good morning, Chief Kepner.
Good morning, President Woods Gray, Vice President Hara, Commissioner DeLugach, Fire Chief, City Attorney Nguyen, and Leticia. My name is Christina Kepner, and I am the Assistant Chief assigned to the Professional Standards Division. Today I will be presenting on both item A and B, and we'll begin with the corrective action summary for the first quarter, January 1st through March 31st. As you see in the report, we had 1 termination and 9 suspensions. One of the suspensions resulted from a settlement agreement. And I will take any questions if you have them.
I remember once we wanted to have, see how many times someone had an offense.
Yes, you wanted to add a column for the number of offenses, is that correct?
Yes, if the same person was being charged a second time for the same offense or being charged, period, for offenses. I think that's a good, it's an interesting idea. And I thought we were going to have ethnicities on here.
Yes, we had
about that.
a discussion with the city attorney, and I believe that they advised not to add
that's a little bit,
ethnicity. That would be
okay.
a little too much
All right.
information because we could identify potentially who the individual may be.
They know who they are anyway.
Yes, ma'am.
They've already told me that, so. But it's, the people who are on here for driving under the influence, do they go for counseling of some kind as a part of their agreement of penalty?
So yes, all of them do attend some form of rehab AA classes. That's mandated by the court. So both of these are first offenses, and we know that because the first offense for a DUI is 16-day suspension.
Oh, I
but
see.
within their program, they are mandated to attend classes. And then if there were to be a second offense, that's when the department would put them on a contract.
Oh, okay. So for the first offense, they go to counseling?
They do. They're court mandated actually for AA classes
all right.
and.
Okay, very good. Now,
Commissioner Woods Gray, can I
Yes.
ask a quick question just about the driving under the influence?
Yes.
Is this driving under the influence on duty or,
No, this is off duty.
okay.
This is a off duty arrest for a DUI.
Okay, is there a difference between driving under the influence in terms of discipline penalty?
Yes, there would be a difference. Yes. So we have a range, our penalty guidelines have a range of discipline. So depending on duty offense would be a much higher range, which could lead up to termination immediately.
Thank you.
have we had ever any cases where on duty, driving while intoxicated? Under the influence?
Not that I'm aware of driving while intoxicated. However, we have had cases where people have been found to be under the influence, but not, as far as I'm aware, none of them have been
No,
driving.
in the driver's seat, okay. Now, my next question was going to be about proper medical protocol. I noticed that there are 3 people there, and each one of them has different corrections.
Yes, correct. So The ones that you see with the 12 working days had multiple protocol or policy violations.
You mean more than one time?
No, meaning within this type of incident, there may have been multiple policy violations with a negative patient outcome. So, for example, maybe there was no AMA completed, which is against medical advice, which is a requirement that paramedics have to do for certain patients within our patient disposition policy, as well as no 12 lead or no full patient assessment. So when there's multiple policy violations within one incident, it will lead to more days of suspension. Whereas maybe the one with 2 working days, there was 1 policy violation within that incident.
Oh,
So is each violation 2 days?
No, not necessarily. So again, the penalty guidelines dictates depending on the egregiousness of the violation as well as the outcome of the patient per se. So it's not exactly 2 days per offense. And I'm just giving you kind of an example. I'd have to look at exactly how many policy violations each one of these members had in that investigation.
Okay, very good. Now, looking at the offense at the settlement section, the final outcome, was that on top of the penalties that whatever agency had charged them in the city or whatever governmental agency had charged them? Was this on top of that?
Correct. So if there's a criminal offense, they will serve their discipline in the criminal court system, and then the administrative process, which is what we provide, is a completely separate process and a separate discipline. So they would have to serve both.
Okay, very good. Are there other questions or comments from commissioners? And Chief Kepner, this report returns to us, what, every 3 months?
Quarterly.
Quarterly.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Having heard the report, a motion is in order to receive and file.
So moved.
Is the second? Second. Thank you. The motion has been moved and seconded. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Thank you very much. Let's move to item 6B.
Okay, good morning again. And just,
Oh, you're doing the same one, huh?
just for the record, again, my name is Christina Kepner, the Assistant Chief assigned to the Professional Standards Division, and I will be presenting now an overview of the Professional Standards Division complaint process. So a complaint can be defined as an allegation from any source of a specific act or omission by an employer member that, if proven true, would constitute employee misconduct. A complaint can be submitted to PSD in a variety of ways. It can come through via U.S. mail, email, fax, or via the complaint tracking system form, which is on the LAFD intranet, available to LAFD members only. Every effort is made to ensure this process is convenient, professional, and prompt. Upon receipt of the complaint, the PSD moderator enters it into CTS, the complaint tracking system. If the complaint originates from a member of the public, a PSD investigator is assigned to contact the complainant within 48 hours to schedule an intake interview. On a weekly basis, new complaints are reviewed by the PSD command staff, which includes myself, the Chief Special Investigator, and the battalion chiefs, as well as the moderator, and for evaluation and disposition during our case assignment meeting. If the PSD command staff determines that the complaint requires an investigation, then the case will be assigned to either a PSD level investigation or a field level investigation. If there is no misconduct identified, the matter can be closed as non-disciplinary. Upon completion of the weekly case assignment meeting, the PSD moderator ensures that the cases are sent out for investigation via CTS. So it's assigned to the investigator via the CTS system. We do also do referrals. So depending on the nature and the allegation of the complaint, it may be necessary for the PSD moderator to refer the complaint for additional review or investigation by another agency. So the following are referrals that are often made by PSD. For any criminal activity, we refer to the appropriate law enforcement agency. We refer to the Los Angeles County Department of Health Services. Any reference 214 violations, which are basically the base hospital and provider agency reporting responsibilities. So we as a department are mandated to refer or report these types of incidents to the Department of Health Services. My Voice LA for any equal employment opportunity complaints. Personnel Services section, reviews by the EEO coordinator. EMS Bureau for reviews by our medical director, and LAFD Risk Management for any workplace violence or threat assessments. All complaints are taken very seriously, and the complaint process can provide the department valuable feedback to improve service while maintaining the public trust. Thank you for your time. That concludes my report. I'll take any questions.
Commissioners have questions?
Yes. I have so many questions that probably it makes sense to ask for a report back.
Sure.
But I would just like to say a couple things for the record. One, I believe this is squarely in the purview of the Fire Commission. I disagree with the speaker who said our only concern should be staffing and resources. I think we're also responsible for a safe working environment, free of discrimination and harassment. I think that affects not only our members, but the members of the public. So I appreciate getting this overview of the process, but it leads me to, I have a lot of questions about procedures, assumptions, criteria, training, disposition of complaints, and analysis. And again, I'll just sort of read these into the record. I have questions about the investigators. How are they selected? How are they trained? What are the distinctions between the different levels of investigation? Some are field investigations, some are command staff. I have a question about how we track complaints, the database, who has access to it, how it's determined what not to investigate. And I can email these to you or something, you don't have to, or however you guys want to do it. But what's the criteria for what goes into what pile of complaint, like the field level command staff? What does depending on the nature of the complaint mean? Are these standards in writing? And just a small point, you specify the length of time to get back to a non-member, but what's the length of time to get back to a member? I would like to know the investigative procedures versus managing complaints. Are complaints that refer to other agencies tracked, and how? I mean, what I would really like is a monthly report that includes the total number of complaints made, who is from the public, which are from members, what are the categories of the complaints or allegations, what are the categories of the complainant and the subject of the complaint, you know, not names or anything like that, but ranks and job duties. I want to know numbers of complaints, how many were closed without investigation, how many referred to one of the two internal processes, and how many were referred to external agencies, and then what are the findings? How many were found to be founded, and how many were unfounded? What was the discipline imposed? What was the nature? What's the accountability up the chain for that, for the subject of the complaint? I want to know about, as I said, about tracking the ones that are referred to other agencies plus our own. What's the follow-up? And then what kind of trends are we seeing in these complaints? And what is the training or accountability called for based on these complaints? So it's a lot, I know, and I don't expect you to answer any of them today, but I really think this is an important part of our job as commissioners, and I think we can learn a lot. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, President.
Thank you, Commissioner DeLucas. You covered the whole issue there very well. Thank you so much. There are a lot of interesting things there. And of course, one of my biggest concerns has always been the timeliness of these reports. And so we're working toward making that a better thing at this time. I know that. But can you provide that to the chief in writing, some written statements, so that she could cover all of them? Because there were a lot of great things that you pointed out, and I want to make sure they all are covered. So it's, Chief Kepner will take care of that. Okay, very good. Yes. Okay, Commissioner, you got the questions or concerns? Okay, then very good. Thank you, Chief Kepner. I think we are off to a good start on on an issue that's an old issue for us. Very good. Now, we're on 6B. Is there a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Second?
And I'll second because it was explained to me, that means we've received the information, not that we're done with the issue.
Right, no, it's just going to be filed. Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we receive and file BFC 23059. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. The motion carries, and we move on to item C. And Chief Flegel is at the stage, at the podium again.
Yes.
To offer us more information. This time he's going to tell us about Operation Central Bureau.
Yes, good morning
Welcome,
once
Chief.
again. Philip Flegel, assigned to Operations Central Bureau. And this morning I'd like to talk to you for a couple minutes in regards to our kind of annual report and how that corresponds to a verbal report, and how Central Bureau has basically developed its own comprehensive strategic plan to assist with the accomplishing the LAFD mission and safeguarding the community through emergency preparedness, prevention, response, and recovery. The OCB strategic plan will use this plan as a roadmap, and will follow it with relentless performance leadership, measurement, and management to bring growth, efficiencies, and increase the capabilities of all of our risk services. And ultimately will help with accomplishing the fire chief with her goal of her strategic plan. So I knew I was going to do this here. Okay. So first of all, I'd just like to give you a little snapshot of Central Bureau, just to kind of get everybody orientated with everything. So Central Bureau proudly serves and protects the communities of the downtown, Pico Union, and northeast portions of Los Angeles. Through its expansive jurisdictional responsibilities lies vibrant, densely populated residential communities, vital commercial districts, and historic landmarks and critical infrastructure. OCB has the potential for any type of incident to occur within its boundaries. Battalions 1, 2, and 11 are located within Central Bureau, and we have approximately 230 firefighter paramedics assigned at 22 stations within the Central Bureau. We also have one of the two 24-hour assistant bureau commanders assigned at Fire Station 3 within Central Bureau that has a assistant chief response to major emergencies and greater alarms. The next slide I'd like to share with you is basically showing our area where we're assigned to there in the blue there. It's basically we're assigned with City Council districts 1, 9, 10, 3, and 14 are located within our bureau. We also have 24 neighborhood councils that are assigned within the Central Bureau. Just a couple statistics real quick that we've had since 2021 and 22, and everything's really gotten quite busy within our bureau. From 21 to 22, we've had from 9 to 12 major emergency structure fires, and that's a fire that's holding 15 or more companies at one assignment or for one assignment at an incident. From 22 to 50 greater alarm structure fires, 4 to 8 significant grass or brush fires, 4 river rescues within 2022, and unfortunately 13 fatality fires in 2022. Now, I know this graphic's kind of busy and it's kind of hard to see for the audience there. Again, what this is showing is the busiest fire stations in the city by only the top 30 within this city. Within that, 39% of the busiest fire stations of the city of Los Angeles are located in my bureau and Central Bureau. With that, Fire Station 9 is the busiest fire station within the city with almost 20 more runs or incidents per day more than the next busiest fire station, which is Fire Station 64. Despite the workload so far in 2023, Fire Station 9 beats the citywide average of operational response times in all categories. And again, that graphic on the left there, it shows currently right now that between EMS incidents and non-EMS incidents are getting out of quarters within under a minute. So that's pretty amazing for such a busy assignment like that at Fire Station 9. So like I spoke before, this is the LAFD strategic plan. It's basically the roadmap of what the fire department is going to do within the next 3 years to get us to where we need to be to have exceptional emergency services and public safety. And again, like I stated before, Central Bureau's developed their own strategic plan to accompany that. And this comprehensive plan will, again, like I said, help the fire chief accomplish the goals with the 7 goals of the LAFD strategic plan. So go ahead and talk a little bit more about that. So to start off with, we want to share our vision that we have, which is what we want to be and what we want to achieve in the future. And the Central Bureau vision is to strengthen a culture of exceptional all-risk public safety through capable leadership, effective management, and safe practices to the communities we serve. The mission is the same as the LAFD mission, which is basically to preserve life, protect property, and safeguard our communities through relentless commitment to emergency preparedness, prevention, response, and recovery. And that basically defines what we do, who we serve, and what we plan to accomplish. Now, the LAFD and the Central Bureau core values basically represent the behaviors that we value, and above all else, reflect the LAFD's core principles and ethics. And again, the Central Bureau's core values are the same as the fire department's main core values. And I'm not going to read through all of them there. You can see them there. But what I did want to focus on was the one core value of safety. I think this is a very important one for our memberships and to our people in the field to make sure that safety is always in every operation at every incident. If we are not performing our job safely, we can't deliver proper services to the citizens of Los Angeles. That's why safety starts when somebody walks in the door at the fire station throughout their shift to make sure they're safe so they can carry out the mission that we have to do. What I also want to express, too, is our leader's intent, or my leader's intent at the Central Bureau, is to make sure that we have a strongly communicate our commander's intent for these core values to make sure people are following them, to make sure we can do our job efficiently and also make sure we understand what we're there for. So getting out of the goals, I'm not going to go through each one of them. These are the same goals of the LAFD strategic plan, the 7 goals, and I'm going to talk about 7 parts of those 7 goals there, that how Central Bureau is accomplishing those things, and how we have relentless performance leadership, management, and measurement to bring growth efficiencies and increase capabilities of services to the citizens of Los Angeles. So goal number 1, I just want to touch on one here. This is the delivery of to deliver exceptional public safety and emergency services. And the one strategy we have there that the little pointer is at is basically to increase all hazard operational competency, confidence, and efficiency to all members. And the tactic we're doing to provide that is basically a monthly Bureau didactic tabletop training exercise, what we call a tactical decision game, that focuses on current incident trends. So what this is this is a one-sheeter that we have, and it's meant to be an incident that may have occurred within the Bureau or within the city that talks about maybe a condition that we don't frequently do at a fire or current incident, something like it's high risk and low frequency. We give a description of what the incident is, and then we have comments on if you're on scene, what will you do? How will your size up go? What companies would you assign where? How would you dictate your tactical priorities for the incident? And what it's meant to be is to stimulate growth at the fire station, have a thing at maybe a lineup when the firefighters in the morning to talk about something so we can expand more about it, and the idea is for the captains to expand more upon that so we can make ourselves better. So we've implemented that in the last 2 years, and actually this last year we've been doing one every month, and the goal is to have this out by the 15th of every month, so it's a constant ongoing thing for all the members to look at. Another way that we are striving to accomplish goal number 1 and deliver exceptional public safety emergency service is through our improvement of incident operational command and control. And part of that is a tactic is revision of the LAFD Book 100. So LAFD Book 100 is a high-rise operation manual that's about 15 to 20 years old that hasn't been revised in that long period of time. In order to meet this goal, what we want to do is redefine that and develop and assemble a work group to revise a contemporary, comprehensive, and relevant manual by the end of June 2023. I'm proud to say that we're about 95% done with that right now, trying to still meet our goal of June of this year. I got Chief Drake looking at me here because he told me I better get it done or he's going to have something else to do with me here. But we're striving to get there. But I just wanted to kind of shadow part of the emergency operations strategic plan, and part of their vision is to be the preeminent innovative leader in the delivery of all-risk emergency services. This manual will make us or get us to where it needs to be with that because it's contemporary and it's relevant. There's a lot of things that change in 20 years, and we are the LAFD, and we do high-rise fires like no one else, and we need to make sure that our people are competently taking care of those things. So part of this book will get us to be, and hopefully get Chief Drake to his vision with emergency operations. Moving on to goal number 2 here, and that's the promotion of safe, healthy, and progressive work environment that effectively manages personnel, growth, and organizational risk. What we want to do is reduce incident and non-incident firefighter injuries to promote a culture of safety, health, and wellness. And the tactic that we did with this is we tried to reduce firefighter injuries through monthly updates, education, stress of department PPEs, and also enhanced fireground safety through health and wellness programs that we have through our LAFD Health and Wellness Injury Prevention Units. And that's been going on for like the last, I guess, beginning of the year and like the last couple of years when we started kind of talking about this. But as you can see in 2023, since we started doing this in January, this is a trend right now of our injuries we had in Central Bureau, and you can see how they've gone down. So basically by talking, reiterating, being relentless with fire safety at safety equipment at emergency incidents, we've been able to at least lower the trend, and you can see how it's going down. Moreover, by battalion, you can see for this year how much they've decreased, and hopefully this trend will continue, but that's just one way that we've been able to help out with firefighter safety and keep our people safe so we can do our job. Okay, I'm going to keep moving on here a little bit. The next goal I want to talk about is goal number 4, is improving collaboration, participative leadership, and responsible performance management. So what we've done is we've coordinated executive meetings and interaction and collaboration with Los Angeles Police Department, City Council, Park Rangers, Verdugo Fire Department, and Los Angeles County Fire Department, and talking about some of the incidents that we go to and how we come along. And what I wanted to explain is, as you can see right here, this is a mutual threat zone incident that's occurring, a picture of it, of an ICP that happened several years ago. An initial incident to a brush fire within the mutual threat zone has 260 personnel responding to one incident at one time from multiple jurisdictions. If we don't have collaborative efforts to communicate, have plans of engagement, and have communication with the people that we work with, we're not going to be able to abate that incident well. So to meet that strategy, what we've done is had quarterly meetings with our MTZ partners. We have on-scene or on-person one-on-one meetings individually. We developed SOGs, standard operating guidelines, that we do with our partners, and also participate in quarterly green cell exercises with our partners to make sure they're all on the same page. So when the day does come for the big brush fire, the wind-driven brush fire, that we know, a term we know is who's who in the zoo, who the face recognition is, and what the game plan is going to be before we get to it. So that's worked out well, and hopefully will continue to work out. I'm going to go on to goal number 5 here. And again, this is fostering personal growth, professional development, and organizational succession. What we're trying to do in Central Bureau is have a strategy of providing pathways for mentorship, leadership, and team building. And what we've done is identified quarterly training and mentorship and leadership training through a OCB leadership series, basically, which collaborates with training division and other outside agencies and other officers to develop our people to make them better. And what we found through our neighborhood councils is that we have a lot of business people that have a lot of good information, a lot of business sense that we could share with leadership within our department. So we've brought them down and shared ideas with meetings with them, and also assign book readings and certain leadership things and papers to the officers within the Central Bureau. And then we communicate and talk about that during our staff meetings to see what they've learned from that and how that can apply to our Bureau. Okay, I'm going to move on. I'm going to skip this one and move on to actually this goal number 6, which has to do with exploring, implementing, and integrating technology innovation and advancements. So what we're utilizing a strategy is to use existing technology platforms and applications to redefine administrative and emergency operational efficiency. And what we've done in the Central Bureau is develop and provide each battalion with a relevant monthly administrative performance audit that focuses on qualitative and quantitative data to gauge progression to achieve desired goals. So there's a lot of reports and records that need to get done at the fire station, a lot of things we need to have done, but sometimes they were not done accurately or on time. So what we've done is corralled all these things into one report that the battalion chiefs and the assistant bureau commanders get every month by the 5th. So the 5th of that month, the report comes out, and now the assistant bureau commander can discuss with the battalion commanders of what things they're lagging on and what things they need to engage upon to make sure the reports are getting done. So what we've done is there's 12 outputs for this report that we have, and then hopefully by addressing those outputs, we can get our proper outcomes for what we want to have this report to look like with all the reports and other things that need to get done at the fire station. And again, not to get too in detail with it, but that's basically that performance excellence of having the performance leadership, which is the strategic plan, the performance measurement, and then obviously the performance management is what this is to make sure that people are getting things done. And again, this is just a swath of the first page of the report, but it's basically 15 to 20 pages of things they need to accomplish. And then throughout the month, as the month goes through every segment, that's the first day of every segment of every shift, the assistant bureau commander will monitor and make sure it's managed correctly so that month our reports get accomplished and get taken care of. In the essence of time, I'm going to move on past our neighborhood councils and how we've engaged with them. And this is just a report showing right here of how we developed a program for engagement with them and how that's working out very well with the follow-up with what their needs are within the neighborhood councils. And again, it's providing that leader's intent of what we need to have done with neighborhood councils, telling our battalion chiefs of giving them information that they need to cover with them and being engaged with them and following up with the neighborhood councils. And that's been working out very good in the last 6 months, or the first 6 months of this year. Okay. So to sum things up, I just like to basically say thanks to all my civilian and sworn staff that assist us with meeting the mission of the Central Bureau. You know, it's often said that you surround yourself with good people and good things happen. I've been very fortunate to have a lot of people that I work with, both civilian and sworn, that get the job done. I give them basic direction and we move forward, and a lot of stuff can happen from a lot of good people. So I have a lot of people that are outstanding to work with, not just good, but outstanding, so I appreciate them. I know I might have went a little bit quick through this, but are there any questions that I can answer for anybody in the commission at all?
Are there any specific things that you do with the unhoused?
Not specifically, no. We do have some incidents when the members have recognized a certain instance, and one that happened a couple weeks ago was a person experienced homelessness with her young child. So we referred that person to the city council district deputy, which got us in contact with somebody from the mayor's office and got them housed. So we realize that as a mother with a child, a young child, is a very important thing to make sure we accomplish. And I don't think she was getting the services that she needed, so we were able to support that plan. But it was a good thing that the captain identified that and got the work moving forward so we could take care of that.
Okay, very good. I know that the chief is working on a report for us on how the fire department is working with the unhoused in the city, because that's a top priority for our mayor. So we want to make sure our department is involved and doing what we can, because I just have this personal feeling that every department can do more with the unhoused, but they have to look at doing the work that they've been doing in a different way. So I like the transportation man who passes my house every day, every week. He can look and see different people. When one tent goes up on a block, he could say, oh, I'm going to report that, and maybe that person needs help. And if they get that one tent off, you know, no other tents will come. So that's just a personal thing for me. But I think it would work if we did it one tent at a time. So we have a part that we can play because we're all over the city all of the time. And we see more of the city than most people do. And we see the worst parts sometimes, and we see the best. But so I know that the chief is working on that. And I'm happy to hear that you're working with the neighborhood councils.
Yes,
because
ma'am.
I think that they are an integral part of our city government. And so that's really good. How do you reinforce the core values with the firefighters?
It's a very good question. So it's daily, relentless follow-up with, and I didn't cover that, but and Chief Drake says this quite a bit too, but you know, there's the ones, twos, and threes. We're dealing with the 4 million people of the city of Los Angeles, and then I think it was 3,765 members of the fire department, and then it's yourself. If you follow the core values and go through those steps for anything that we do, then you can't go wrong. But if you think about putting yourself first before those core values and what they mean, then you're doing something wrong. So that's reiterated through my bureau on a daily basis with the battalion chiefs, and it's reiterated. And whenever there is a problem that may come up, we always go, well, what part of the core value did you miss? So it's reiterated. So I got to say that having that written in a book and having it available to us, and everybody knows it's all there, is really important because there's no getting away from it. It's nothing ambiguous. It's there and it makes a lot of sense. So that's kind of how we do the enforcement. So it's a relentless follow-up, as we always use that term, but it's the more we say it, the more it happens.
That's my concern, is that it's written in a book. It looks good in the book and it looks good on the page. But I want firefighters to always demonstrate these core values, and we would have no questions, or no one else would question us as to what they're doing, because they're actually living the core values that we have in each of these bureaus. That's very important, a very important thing. We have to figure out how to make sure that works like that. Okay, very good. Thank you. It's always, Commissioner DeLucia.
I live in Central Bureau, so thank you very much for your report. I was just curious if you work with any community organizations in that area. There are a lot of community organizations. It's just they can be another, helpful group of people along with neighborhood councils. Is that something that you all are doing or would consider doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Consider doing. We haven't. A couple, like our busiest or our more active neighborhood councils in the northeast part of Battalion 2 and the northeast part of Los Angeles. And we have worked with a couple organizations there, although I can't name them off the top of my head. But we're always open to that. And like actually what we're doing right now is in Battalion 2 in the northeast part is our Wildland Fire Alliance. And again, that's a part of a preparedness for wildland fires. And in the El Sereno area, that part it's a very big concern for those people with all the grass and brush that we have up there. So we're forming with My Safe LA, which is an outside partnership with them to help out with that. But yeah, we're always open to any organizations that want to help us with our mission to help the people get to where they need to be.
Yeah, I'm just thinking there's probably exists in the mayor's office a list of, or at least there should be some sort of database of organizations all over the city, and maybe that's just something we can think about as a commission, how to create partnerships between the department and people who also are trying to improve the quality of life.
Yes, ma'am.
And real quick, if I may, and all of the 4 geographical bureau commanders have done a fantastic job ensuring that from the chain of command all the way up and all the way down, we're looking for opportunities to engage the community. So it goes beyond the neighborhood councils. Oftentimes our local fire stations are asked to engage in a community event. So that does happen quite a bit, where that's a really important connection is from the fire station level all the way up through the chain of command. So that's reiterated. We're always looking for other opportunities to engage with the community, and that's just establishing that trust and rapport that the local fire stations have all the way up the chain of command.
Thank you.
And before COVID, we had lots of training programs that we went out to different places and did training and worked with groups, emergency preparedness and all kinds of things that they would come and do for different groups, seniors programs, the retired teachers program, different places like. So I had asked the chief if we could work on getting those programs back up and running, because people are asking us to come out and do training again. So, and those programs were very well received by everybody in the community, because there was always something given out, a booklet maybe they could take home and set their emergency plan up or something like that. So it was really quite helpful. So the chief says she's going to work on getting that program back up and running so that we can move back to our previous status before COVID. COVID has changed so much. I realize that. Okay, well, Chief Legal, I want to thank you and he was my first parade riding buddy. So we had a good time. It was his first assignment almost as chief, bureau chief, and we rode in the Chinese New Year's parade. So it was really a great thing. Thank you very much for the work that you're doing there, and stay focused and stay safe.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Is a second? This has been moved and seconded that we receive and file BFC 23-060, PL2. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. The motion carries, and we'll move on to item D. And, that goes back to Chief Dixon.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning again, Commissioners. Tyler Dixon, Assistant Chief assigned to the EMS Bureau. I'll be here giving you a verbal update on the therapeutic van pilot program, ma'am. In 2021, the City Council approved a motion allowing the fire department to sign into a pilot agreement with the Department of Mental Health. That's the County of Los Angeles Department of Mental Health. To conduct a pilot program involving the deployment of 5 therapeutic vans staffed by Department of Mental Health, or DMH, personnel. That's 3 personnel per van, including a licensed psychiatric technician, a driver, and a peer counselor. The pilot endeavored to determine the feasibility and safeness of the Department of Mental Health vans to respond alongside fire department personnel to incidents that had been categorized as a psychiatric emergency. Under the pilot program, the fire department resources respond as normal protocol with no variations. An EMT unit or paramedic unit responds emergency to the incident and conducts a medical exam as an EMS provider. The Department of Mental Health therapeutic van during the pilot will be dispatched by the Los Angeles Fire Department Metro Fire Control Dispatch and respond non-emergency in a parallel response to the units already responding from the fire department. The EMT or paramedic conducts a medical assessment of the person and uses an algorithm or checklist provided by the Department of Health Services local EMS agency, which is the regulatory authority overseeing all EMS providers in the County of Los Angeles, to either include or exclude the patient in the ability to transfer care to the therapeutic van for transfer to a psychiatric urgent care center rather than an emergency room. The checklist is thorough and involves a complete medical assessment. During this pilot, 5 vans were deployed starting on January 2022 to 5 locations throughout the city. Through a tiered deployment due to staffing limitations of the Department of Mental Health, as of September of 2022, all 5 vans were deployed. The pilot intended that the vans would operate 7 days a week, excluding county holidays, 24 hours a day. However, to date, only 2 vans are operating on 24-hour schedule. 3 vans are operating on 12 a.m. schedule, with one of the vans having intermittent evening coverage on top of the 2 24-hour vans. This is due to the limitations of Department of Mental Health staffing challenges. The therapeutics vans' highlights of their abilities is to provide psychiatric counseling, to write a psychiatric hold, also known as a 5150 hold, and to transport patients to agreed upon psychiatric urgent care centers. The therapeutic van staff do not have any medical training or ability to provide any emergency medical services or medications at this time. The therapeutic vans also are limited to people experiencing isolated psychiatric emergencies. The person cannot have any medical problems, cannot have a medical complaint, cannot have any violent behavior or displays of possible violence. They need to be cooperative, and they cannot have any intoxication, i.e. an overdose, or be severely intoxicated on alcohol. During this pilot to date, 5,878 dispatches have been allotted to the therapeutic vans, resulting in 1,714 transfers of care with a transport to a psychiatric urgent care center by the therapeutic van, rather than a paramedic or EMT rescue ambulance. This equates to the therapeutic van in the downtown Los Angeles area being the most active, with approximately 4 dispatches per day of a 24-hour shift, resulting in an average of 2 transports per shift for that therapeutic van. The remaining therapeutic vans, keeping in mind that 3 of the remaining therapeutic vans are on 12-hour AM shifts and have had a more limited period of time, have been dispatched less than 1 time and less than 1 transport per shift. Early pilot observations indicate that the checklist or algorithm provided by the Department of Health Services, that it was collaboratively created by the Los Angeles Fire Department and our local EMS authority, is safe. Of these 1,700 transports to a psychiatric urgent care center, only 7 patients required a subsequent activation of 911 and transfer to an emergency department within a 24-hour period. However, after a thorough evaluation and collaboration with the receiving facilities, the local EMS authority and staff here, including the medical director and the advanced provider supervisor, doctor of nurse practitioner, it was determined that no significant undesirable outcomes were related, and that these reactivation of 911s were unrelated to the algorithm or checklist. So an early pilot observation would be that the checklist is safe, and it is safe under these pilot regulations to transfer care of someone, again, suffering an isolated psychiatric emergency, excluding a medical complaint, excluding violent behavior, excluding any kind of overdose, to a Department of Mental Health provider subsequent to a 911 activation is safe. The other observation is, early observation, is that this is a finite number of patients in our 911 population that are appropriate to transfer care to the therapeutic van. The Public Safety Committee of the City Council of Los Angeles last week adopted a motion to extend this pilot, which was scheduled initially to end at the end of this month, to scheduled to re-up the pilot July 1st for an additional 12 months. The fiscal impact to the City of Los Angeles or the Fire Department is, per the agreement with the Department of Mental Health, the staff member that drives the van, which is a driver with no other additional special training, the salary, benefits, and overtime are reimbursed by the City of Los Angeles. It's estimated that over the next 12 months, that will incur a cost of approximately $1.6 million to staff the 5 therapeutic vans as indicated in the pilot. The other 2 staff members, as well as the vehicle and maintenance on the vehicle, are the fiscal impact is provided by the Department of Mental Health. Other unaccounted for costs or fiscal impact to the fire department is covered by existing staff providing the dispatch services, as well as the oversight and liaison with the Department of Mental Health. During this next period of time, July 1st, the Department of Mental Health wishes to also evaluate the possibility of telemedicine between the licensed psychiatric technician and a psychiatrist, which is a medical doctor, which would be employed by the Department of Mental Health. This would be at no cost or fiscal impact to the City of Los Angeles. That would be isolated to the Department of Mental Health's operation or portion of the pilot. Additionally, the Department of Mental Health would like to determine the feasibility or impact of dispatching 2 of their therapeutic vans from a Department of Mental Health facility rather than a fire department facility. The fire department is willing to explore this possibility with a keen eye for possible impacts on response times or additional time waited by a Los Angeles Fire Department resource on scene waiting for the arrival of a therapeutic van. That's the end of the report. Happy to answer any questions, Commission.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Commissioner DeLucia? Commissioner DeLucia?
Well, I mean, it's hard to take it all in as a verbal report. Would it be possible to get a written report on this?
Yes, ma'am.
Including, I mean, we heard one of our speakers talk about this pilot. What are ways you think this could be improved?
Yeah, fantastic question, Commissioner. That question opens a very broad answer, and I will try to be succinct. The Los Angeles Fire Department, as we've articulated in our strategic plan under goal number 1, to deliver exceptional public safety and emergency services under strategies 1 and 2 under that goal, ensure optimal emergency resource deployment to meet the evolving needs of the city. And number 2, to elevate the delivery of emergency medical services to ensure all patients receive the highest quality of care possible. We work in one of the most dynamic cities in the world, serving over 4 million people. And as we've articulated in those strategies and goals, the needs of our customers or the needs of the residents and visitors of Los Angeles are ever evolving. And the fire department has recognized, in part by our own observations and in part by the Standards of Cover report, which this commission received last meeting, that the needs of our citizens and residents and visitors has evolved. It includes an increased need for emergency medical services, an increased need for services for low acuity patients, not just our high acuity or life-threatening patients, but for low acuity or non-emergency type medical care, as well as psychiatric emergencies. And the call for services for the fire department that we are observing through this pilot and through other analyses is that the majority of the patients or incidents that are brought to the fire department that involve a psychiatric emergency involve a co-complaint of a medical problem or a possible outburst of violence, which is not well suited for the therapeutic van. The fire department values the allied agency relationship of the Department of Mental Health, and I believe that there is a need for a continued partnership with that agency. However, we are looking towards our existing programs, which do allow for the medical clearance and transport of a broader number of patients, including those that would be outside of that checklist that is confining to a finite number of patients, to provide exceptional services to patients that are experiencing a psychiatric emergency. The desired outcome is that somebody that's having a psychiatric emergency as their primary complaint, that they receive definitive care at the most appropriate facility. And that's not always an emergency department or an emergency room. There are a very limited number of emergency rooms in the County of Los Angeles that specialize in psychiatric urgent care, but there's a broader number of psychiatric urgent care centers that specialize in the care of those that are experiencing a psychiatric emergency. Our existing program, the Advanced Provider Response Units, employ a nurse practitioner and a physician assistant partnered with a firefighter paramedic that offer a platform that can address all of those things that we discussed and more, including, to the President's earlier comments, a broader level of referral services for people experiencing homelessness that we interact with. So while this pilot has initially shown a finite number of patients and a small number of patients, that doesn't mean that the partnership with the Department of Mental Health is not of value. It is of value. This pilot is of value because it has told us that the number of patients that are experiencing a psychiatric emergency that end up being referred to the fire department generally have one of those other co-complaints, which indicates that a platform like the APRU, the Advanced Provider Response Unit, may be better suited for a larger number of those patients.
Just follow up on that. I mean, I think that's a really good idea to I mean, it's great to leverage resources and money from the county and people, but it sounds like the biggest, well, there's seems to be a couple problems. One is that they're not able to staff them enough, and that they have limited abilities for what the situation might call for. So I just wonder, even though this has been re-upped for another year, if there's thoughts about revamping, as you were talking about, combining some of our people and the county's people and being able to deal with more. So is that part of the plan? I mean, are you working with the Department of Mental Health in the county? Okay, good. To think about how to incorporate paramedics with these psychiatric social workers.
Yes, ma'am, on multiple fronts, and it's articulated in our department strategic plan. It's articulated in the soon-to-becoming emergency operations strategic plan, as well as the soon-to-becoming EMS Bureau strategic plan. And One of the particular items that we're working on with the Department of Mental Health on this specific category is the ability of our advanced providers that are, again, partnered with a firefighter paramedic in an existing adopted program within the fire department, is to allow the advanced provider who can perform a higher level of medical clearance above and beyond an EMT or paramedic that is limited to that checklist that the Department of Mental Health or Department of Health Services has provided us, allowing them and training them to have the ability to write a psychiatric hold or a 5150 hold to either allow the advanced provider or possibly the therapeutic van a broader number of patients to transport to a psychiatric urgent care center rather than an emergency department above and beyond this pilot's confines.
Well, I'd love to hear more about that as that develops, because it sounds like the city is not a pretty negligible amount of money they're putting in. The city's putting in is for a couple of people per van, salaries and benefits.
Correct. The city reimburses for the cost of 5 drivers or 5 driver positions
Altogether.
up to a 24-hour shift.
Okay, well, let's hear more going forward.
And how many firefighters or paramedics are we staffing it with?
The therapeutic van, ma'am, is staffed strictly by Department of Mental Health personnel.
Okay, that's what. So there's no funds coming out of our budget.
Ma'am, one correction to that. Last fiscal year, there was $2 million allocated for 18 months of the pilot. Starting July 1st, the new fiscal year, there will be, at least in the mayor's proposed budget, there is $1.6 million proposed to allow for the reimbursement of the driver.
But that's not a part of the fire department's budget.
I believe it is part of the fire department's
Okay,
budget.
the mayor
ma'am.
allocated it into the fire department's budget.
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe that I'd have to refer to my ASB
And
colleagues
I'm
on the.
concerned about why because I'm concerned about pilot programs is that they seem to want to go on forever, and I don't think pilots are supposed to be going on forever. And this one's been going on for a while, and then the city council votes to move it on for another year. At what point do they see it not being a pilot program?
I couldn't answer for the city council, ma'am. As far as the fire department is concerned, this initial phase of the pilot, the one takeaway is that the checklist that was provided by the Department of Health Services is safe. And the number of patients that we have seen, the over 1,700 patients that were transported, is a robust number to conclude that that checklist is safe for an EMT or paramedic to determine or include someone for transfer of care to the Department of Mental Health. An unintended observation of the initial phase of the pilot is that that is a finite number of patients that the fire department encounters.
And real quick, ma'am, too, we agree. I mean, a pilot's a pilot. So at what point is proof of concept there? Yeah. So I'd say our goal holistically is, as we move forward with this next year of funding, is to solidify what is our position. We've got the statistics. We show where in the city it does show value, and then the path forward is creating an even more efficient program. And if that comes with recommendation of continuing working with UFLAC and figuring out better ways to staff and supplement our EMS service delivery, I agree with Chief Dixon holistically that our APRUs, which is our nurse practitioner units that are partnered with our firefighter paramedics, provides even a greater scope of services. So this is the end of the beginning, let's just say, with the pilot, then to figure out a better strategy moving forward that will prove benefit and value to the community.
Okay, very good. I feel that it's a very valuable program in that it works with the mental health department and the people who have mental health issues. And they do need special people to just go out there and help to work on those particular issues. But it's expensive, and we don't seem to have enough of it. And there are a lot of mental health issues in the city. So I can see when we did the pilot, we wanted to see if it could be replicated. And so that was the real purpose, you know. So if it's really working, then we need to find the money to make it work for every bureau in the city.
Right, and that's also solidifying if this program is best suited being managed within the fire department or not.
Right.
So this second set of metrics that we're looking at will help us determine that and what's a better long-term strategy. Because again, we've got the metrics from the first year demonstrating, even in our busiest area downtown, that they're transporting just 2 patients. Now, 2 patients does help in regard to workload, but we want to maximize that. So that's what this next year is going to be about, is figuring out a better path forward that's more of a long-term strategy.
And I've had some experience working with mental health issues and patients, and that each one takes a very long time, from the beginning to the end of the processing. So I know I can understand that maybe you don't do as many, but then you just need more people doing more, probably. Commissioner Duca.
Well, I was just from what the chief said, I mean, the county gets lots of mental health dollars, and we're the ones who get the mental health dollars. Let's flip the script and have them be funding our folks delivering these services, perhaps. What do you think?
That's a great recommendation.
Yeah. Commissioner,
A very good
Give us your money.
recommendation.
Give us your money, county.
agree. The Department of Mental Health Services already has a well-standing, well-established program to provide mental health services in the community, in people's homes, and in places other than clinics. They have a already established list of people that are requesting services outside of the 911 system. And it's the Psychiatric Mobile Response Team program that has been in existence for decades, I believe. That list includes people in the city of Los Angeles that are requesting services outside of the 911 system. In conversations with the directors at Department of Mental Health, some of 3 of the vans that are of least activity, there's a possibility in this next pilot that we can work together to allow those vans to go service members of, or residents or visitors of the city of Los Angeles that have requested those services outside the 911 system to conduct psychiatric care ahead of the need to call 911 through that established list. And to Chief Crowley's point, during this next year, I think the fire department will be able to articulate a solid stance on our partnership with the Department of Mental Health and find a happy medium between an allied relationship where we are able to request Department of Mental Health Services providers to respond to 911 calls, balanced with the need to serve those members that are already on that list. And whether it be the county employee or the city employee, we don't want any member that's providing services to the public to be underutilized. And I believe that working together with the Department of Mental Health and the LAFD, we'll be able to find a happy medium there for our partnership with the Department of Mental Health while we continue to pursue the effectiveness of our resources that are already within the LAFD.
Oh, very good, very good. I remember we had another program where we worked with the county, the Sober Center, but it's closed.
The Sober Center is open, ma'am.
Oh, it's open again.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, good, because we'd asked for a report on that. We need to get an update on the Sober Center, because I know it was shut down or something for a while, and I don't know what happened. But anyway, we do need an update on that Sober Center. Okay, very good. Thank you, Chief Dixon, for your report, and
Yes, ma'am.
we look forward to having an update from you on it soon.
Thank you, ma'am. Will do.
One of the things, Chief, we need to look at, remember there were a lot of innovation projects that happened before you came on. I know that you're probably evaluating those.
Yes, we have a work in progress of prioritizing the innovation grants and what we're going to be submitting this year.
Okay, because this particular program kind of fits in with all those programs that were popping up. Very good. So that's a verbal record. We don't need a motion. There's no one necessary for a motion. We're at the end of our agenda. We know that the 4th of July is coming and we have fireworks. We didn't get a report on fireworks this time, but we know that the department is working diligently to do something about the fireworks. And it's because they've already started them in our neighborhood. So, and people are writing, what, fireworks in the daytime? But so fireworks, I know, is something that My Safe LA and I'd like to get that flyer so I can send it out to my email list that they put out, and just to try to help pass the message about safety. Before we adjourn, I want to acknowledge a visitor in the audience. I do believe I see Miss Janethia Hayes, Dr. Janethia Hayes in the back, past president, and she will be returning to this commission. Welcome.
Welcome.
My glasses are not so good, Janethia, but I can see I know people. I said, I think, yes. Very good. Okay, very good. Are there any other comments from commissioners? Okay, if not, a motion is in order to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second? It's been moved and second that we adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much, commissioners. Thank you, staff, for all your reports. We'll see you in 2 weeks.